Hello everyone, how are you doing? I am today with Bert-ola, and Bert-ola spent this week in talking to 8 of our students on Facebook Live, and I want to know his feedback on. Um, First, I want to know from him what he saw in the school in the last 18 months in growing, and now in the last 1 week, what difference he has seen. So thank you, Bartola. Tell me what differences you saw in the school since the last 18 months and now since the last 6 months, and now what you learned from them in 1 week.
Yes, of course, in one day, because I spoke with 8 people the last 24 hours, so it was quite intense. And I have two more tomorrow, in fact, so it will be 10 this weekend. Yeah, of course, it's at distance when you see what do you see in the school. I see it online with what you share and what the students share and like that. So I haven't been there physically yet, but it looks from what I can see digitally that it's more dynamic. And of course, I see that the students, uh, I see a dynamic because they interview each other and they share each other's posts. So it builds sort of a community there. And one of the one interesting thing I noticed today is that I expected when I said yes to one person that I would get the Rehan effect, like a flooding of people who wanted me to make the interview with them, and that happened, of course. So I get sort of 30 inboxes with others, and some students' friends came into the to the stream and asked if I, hello, my friend, blah blah blah, also want to make an interview. Do you see his comment? So that was quite interesting that they were helping each other, at least two of them, to help me to see the friend's message. So I think this sort of cooperation between the interns is something that I've noticed the last weeks, the last months. It's more energy around the school digitally, and this more cooperation. I think, and of course, you had this celebration at home when they were given these awards for doing X number of interviews and like that. So it's an interesting evolving school, which when I spoke with Gian Seb some weeks back, I said it's important that they learned community building also. So it's not only competition. For example, maybe you can develop a model if someone it's just an idea. If someone gets a contract or can sell something, maybe it's a small feedback investment that everyone can do. If you get $1, 80 cents you can take yourself and 20 goes back to the friends of the school. That would encourage everyone to build cooperation also and help each other. So the collective would get a little bit of the income. So you nurture both the individual capacity and the community capacity. So it's not only, otherwise there might be very much competition, and some will be uh, I suspect that if someone will become very good in what they do and sell, they will win a lot and some will lose or feel like a loser. That doesn't build a great community. So to finding these mechanisms that you incentivize both the individual and the community together, I think that will be great to develop. But I think that's the latest I see from my horizon here in Sweden, looking into the Rehan school at distance, that it's more dynamics and more that the students take initiatives. They inbox me, some inbox me as crazy. It's like And it's amazing to see the progress also. I was astonished the quality of the questions they asked. Of course, there's some of them read from paper, but it was like outstanding questions in most of the cases, like really what is the role, what is the skills you need, how can you improve, what is the impact. So it was really mature questions around it. So I learned also to, that was a bit fun because I needed to concentrate around it and see what are these basic things that as a facilitator should have, or yeah, it's good to get questions because that sharpens your thinking, and sometimes you get unexpected questions as well if you are not prepared. And this was semi-prepared because some of them sent the question just before I started. So I just get a glimpse, a feeling of what it was. But I had no like preparation. So, and in general, I don't do that. So I think the interviews in general was quite pretty good. So, and you can feel also that they have done many interviews, and remarkably good in English also, to like sitting here in other part of the world and answering them. So I hope I saw also one or two of them already had done some reflection. So I think that's a good component, that they summarize quickly, like what's the takeaway of the last 30 minutes, summarize in 3 paragraphs, so they get this continuous learning in mindset of like what is my takeaways from interview while it's fresh directly after. So that maybe is a component you can add into to the interview practice. So that's some of the first inputs.
They made the questions using ChatGPT. They put in the profile of the person in Perplexity, and Perplexity Googles you, and then based on you, it gives you questions, and that's why they're so crisp questions. They're amazing questions. It's just mind-boggling, amazing questions. And they do nodding and everything, even though they don't really understand English. They do very interesting behavior in the interviews, and they're picking up. They have become better. 6 months ago they had zero English, and now all of a sudden some of them are 30% at English, which is insanely amazing. I don't know how this happened, but it happened. Also, some kids are doing interviews in Swedish. I don't know if you gave interview in Swedish language yet. So if you give an interview in Swedish language, you will see them also doing similar behavior where they're actually reading the questions in Roman English, and they're just pretending that they're actually speaking Swedish. And you will probably understand 50% because their pronunciation will not be correct. Because, for example, they will say hey, whereas it's hey, it's they will say hej because they read hej, but you will say hey. So, but it's very interesting how they are picking up and how they're communicating. How have you seen the difference in the last 18 months? Have you seen any notices?
Yeah, I haven't spoken to the students 18 months back, so this is sort of my first big push the last 24 hours. So in that sense, I can't compare. But like I said, I can feel the energy is increasing and the students take more initiatives. And of course, they use, I mean, the speed, many, and by the way, when it comes to the language, even if they have picked up these questions on AI or something, I have been communicating with them before the interview. So you know how it is to send messenger to other cultures in this fast moving world. Still, you need to like, okay, we take the interview at 9 p.m. Pakistan time, or like that. So it's a small scheduling and a small conversation, and you need to get the link in time and everything. So there are some organization around it anyway. So you need to understand a bit of this quick, rapid communication. So clearly they follow the English. It's not just speaking from a text.
They're
But in
using
general,
Google.
like, yeah,
They're
but
using
then
Google.
they yeah, but then
They're
you
using
do that very quickly. Then
yeah.
the
They become very quick at it.
yes.
And by incident, yesterday, one of the boys translated something into Google Translate, and it went into like something like, "I will make nude video of you," and the guy was very offended. He was not trying to say, "I will make nude video," but the translation he didn't recognize, and he just sent the video. And
Mm,
the guy is a friend of mine. He got very upset, and
mm,
he blocked the boy.
mm, mm,
But when I asked him, and I said, "Why would you make nude videos, sir?" "I don't know what I said. I just use Google Translate."
mm,
And so it was very funny. But the other guy or the other side would not take it as funny because they would be offended, right?
mm,
So it's
mm,
very small little things like this happening right now.
mm,
It's
mm,
very funny. Okay, but do you see any other changes? Or I know it's high energy, but the only thing which has happened, and might want to know, is that I gave individual laptops to everyone 3 4 months ago.
mm,
That I have started a new project in Pakistan where anybody can take a laptop for $3 a month.
mm,
So they give us $3 and I give them a laptop. So that's what I started, a new project. It's called One Laptop Per Pakistani.
mm,
So, and I want to give 250 million laptops. For
mm,
now, I have only got 100 laptops a month.
mm,
So I'm giving laptops and I charge $3 a month.
mm,
And people can just come in and give us $3 and take a laptop. So since
mm,
then, they have they have changed a lot. So just by having a laptop at their home, there is incredible change in their behavior, in their work. They are awake till 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. It's totally like global citizenish happening. Like behavior is very not schoolish at all, because they're self-managing their timing, they're self-managing their discipline. And I think there is a today a guy came from the school and he was like, he didn't understand what's going on because the children are kind of self managing themselves and they're not listening to teachers. So it's a very weird time for us to monitor all this happening.
mm, mm. But I would say that that's one of the things I see from the small communication, that because it's not easy, as you know, to, if you are not used to the digital connection and everything. Do you show up in time? Can you coordinate? Do you know the time zones? Do you even ask, is it Pacific time? Small details, but it's quite important. So like. I think there's an awareness there of how you do it. Not everyone, I would say, because also you get the flood of people who don't understand. For example, you and me and others, we have a lot of inboxes. It's full every day, and people expect your answer immediately. So you, and I was aware of this. When I say yes to 2 3, I will get 50 more who will want me to take the interview immediately. So but I try to make a push now. I have more time in the weekends in general, so I will try to every weekend to do 4 or 5. And hopefully, yeah, then I will have done the whole school within the coming weeks. So I hope they can persist a few days between the different, but between the different places. So yeah, I promised that I will give everyone an interview, and but they need to have a bit of patience. Monday, Thursday, I'm very busy normally, so I have difficult to be around. But Friday to Sunday is bit normally a bit better. So
Do you
and
see this as a healthy behavior for children to do, like doing the interviews? What is your
yeah,
opinion
yeah,
about it?
absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, I'm well. Interview is, I think, in a bigger. I that was one of the questions I got. Do you have any recommendation? What should you do as a to become a good facilitator? And I used this 3L: listen, link, and learn. And of course, interviewing is a perfect training exercise to learn to listen and to learn to communicate. So, and that was one of my advice, that the first opportunity you have to speak with a foreign person or some from another part of the world, it's to build curiosity and interest from the other, to build the first relation. It's not about finding all the information that this person know. You can look in Google, you can TED talk, you can look at papers they have written, whatever. The most important thing is to build the first part of the relation, and that's more of building this empathy and ask about yourself and get things going, and next time or the third time or the fourth time you can build deeper into that. So I think that is one of the learnings. I hope some of them will take that with us. I was thinking of that later, that they should look a little bit at each other's videos and make a small summary, and it could be 3 sentences or one insight. What did you learn from this? It would be quite interesting to hear, because some of the questions were similar, but some were different as well. So it was not completely the same from everyone, even if they checked my profile or so. So, and it would also be interesting. I do that in facilitation. It's interesting when individual people look at a phenomenon from their individual perspectives, and then you compare, and then you share what you see when you look at the same thing, because you will perceive things in a different way, and you can learn a lot from group thinking and how a group functions, and that we see things differently in a way. So that type of exercises would be great if they could do now when they interview each other. So you have a lot of feedback in the groups. So what have you learned today? And you always nurture this creative thinking and that type of mindset, the reflective capacity.
How can we collaborate between schools in Sweden and encourage them to have their students talk to our students live like this?
Let me try to reach out to some in the coming time. Like I said, the problem, we discussed this before. I think the problem a little bit is that, and I got that question from two of the students today. What's the difference between the Rehan school and the Swedish or the Western world or the global school? Is that here it's very strict system. You do mathematics on Monday, 2 hours, and then you have next, and it's like a Quran or a Bible with rules about what you can do or what you cannot do, and you have the principle of the school and everything. So it's very rigid structure in a school system. So probably it needs to be something outside the traditional time. So that's my first guess. But let me speak with some people I know and see what they think around it. It would be cool to make some experiment and see how it worked.
How about with some other experimental schools like the one from our friend in Brazil?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, and
Yeah, I think that normally would be because they are already in this alternative education space.
Mm.
So that your school would, of course, definitely be in that category, alternative education. You mean
Do you
Philip?
remember? Do you
Philip?
not Philip?
Philip?
Philip is no longer working, I think. But there was another lady who came to first catapult also. Um,
Yeah,
Philip was from
you have Layla. You have
Venezuela.
uh, yeah, but they know the field because they have been in the field for a long time, so they know the schools.
Yeah.
So
Do you have Leila's number? Can you send it to me?
I don't have a number, but I have her messenger like that. She's quite active.
Yeah, I think she's
So
on my
in gyms
Facebook. I
and
will ask.
yeah, so that could be good because I think they have a few kids in the co-working space. So that's also
What's
useful.
Leila's last name?
Miranda, Leila Pais de Miranda,
MER
ANDA. Molecule,
Lynn. No, not
Le,
Lena Miller. Leila.
Leila.
Yeah, yeah, I got it.
Mm. Molecular IDs is the name of the co-working space.
Okay. Okay.
So
Uh,
it's
try to talk to some schools. I went with Cillian
mm,
to talk to one school, and they totally said no, he cannot even talk to you. And then he said to go to private school. She said to go to private school. The principal was there.
mm,
So I think we there must be many experimental schools. I know one in Atlanta. I
mm,
will talk to them,
mm,
and that one is also very funny and amazing school. It has
Ross Hall might know because he worked with education in Ashoka before.
who's Ross Hall? I don't know.
Ross Hall, he was responsible in Ashoka, the organization for social entrepreneurs called Ashoka. It's the world's largest. So now he works for Jacobs Foundation in Switzerland, a big foundation, a billionaire who shared his fortune. So he worked a lot with education systems, and now he's co-founder of the weaving lab. So weaving. So we are in the same field. He has been to Catapult twice or three times or something as well. So he might know that. Also some experimental schools and like that. And I have shared in the weaving lab the video of the school and like that because I think the combination of what you do today, the wisdom part, the guidance, that's also what I noticed from a side, at least what I can see on the pictures, that there seems to be some elements of guidance in the room. So I think that's where wisdom comes into it, to be like the grandmother's model, like Sugatra Mitra says in the Hole in the Wall school. So that element of giving guidance to the students, combined with creative thinking, the different skills, and learning AI tools. I think the combination there is super powerful of what you do and quite unique. I don't know of any other school doing the same stuff, at least.
Yeah, I think because most of the world has to follow curriculum, and I'm not following any curriculum.
Yeah, but
And I
even edge schools are private. So, but I will keep my eye open for this.
Have you seen any other school crazy enough like this? I've heard of some other experimental
No,
schools.
no, absolutely not. So it's not what I can say. It's a lot of courses out there, like small programs, and there's tons of that material in my Facebook flow of information. I mean, entrepreneurs all over the world who do AI courses or whatever. But that's more like a few hours here and there, and then you learn something. It's not like a school, not a community, because you learn more communities of practice. I think more you build a place. And I say, like an example, you are building like a learning society. That's what you do. You build a learning environment. But one of the questions I got today also was, what is a learning society and like that, and many things in that. But the difference between a community and a learning society is community consists of the people, and belonging together is a core element of that, to be part of a group or a community. But society is also a bit bigger. Contains the laws, it contains different institutions, the infrastructure of building a society. So community is more embedded within a society and a focus on the people and the group there. But society needs also new laws, new rules, new policies that are updated with the way we work today in 21st century. So we don't have laws that are adapted to another time, another era, which normally is the case. So we should have much quicker and much more learning in the institutions. That's maybe the biggest problem at the moment. The politicians are outdated, as you know. That's insane party.
So, for the last 2 days, one of the large political party is protesting outside the governor house of Punjab in Lahore that they have raised the price of petrol by 5 cents and maybe 7 cents, and they are screaming, they are yelling, they are protesting, and the solar panels in our country are not actually taxed, whereas the petrol is subsidized, and people can buy cheaper petrol because the government subsidized it. Similarly, we are not allowed to import electric cars, and we are forced to use gasoline cars because we are being forced into a gasoline economy, because we buy petrol from Saudi Arabia and we're paying them, and then we subsidize it, and somebody else is winning this. And the politicians, no matter how hard I try, they are populist, so they constantly talk about petrol prices and that things are becoming expensive, instead of telling people that the income is, you can increase the income. For example, I did not know that the world's average is $12,000 a year, whereas Pakistan is on $1,000 a year. So if everybody in Pakistan who is earning only $200-300 a month only goes online and looks for a remote job, they will increase the income to twice, thrice, four times, five times, because now they will be looking for jobs in Sweden, Germany, America, Australia, online as an accountant, as a programmer, as a software engineer, as a assistant, just by looking online. And the people in the West will also be able to take advantage of it, and there is no awareness of it. uh, Now we are stuck in this paradigm. Do you have any ideas on what I can do to do this change? For example, I made a video and released it today. I've been saying this for 1 year, that the petrol should become $10 per liter, and people should rely more on the internet and Zoom and all that stuff, and we should use the power of technology like we used in Corona times. So that, like in Corona, everybody went remote, people started to become localized, and it was the high growth of technology in our country and the world. Do you have any tips on what I can do to help people change their paradigm?
I don't know how aware the politicians are about what's happening in the world in terms of legislation around petrol. I mean, around in Europe. I don't know exactly the year now, but I mean, here it will be banned. You will not. It will not be possible to have any petrol cars in a few years anymore. They Volvo, the Swedish brand, but it's Chinese by the way now. They will 2024. They will run the last year of I think diesel car. They will produce the last line. So I mean, what who will drive on the car? What cars will you drive in Pakistan? So maybe that's one thing to look into, like to get them to nudge the thinking a little bit. What will you drive with horses in 10 years, or what will we use on the roads? Because the Western world is clearly going towards electric cars. So that could be one thing to make maybe some material or raise awareness around how do we transport in 10 years from now. Because one of the learnings, of course, in the Nordic countries and Norway was very early in electric cars and like that, is that you need to build an infrastructure around batteries as well. So you can charge your car. It's not, and that takes time to build because you can't drive for more than, of course, it's increasing the capacity of the batteries in the cars, but I think you can drive like 300-400 kilometers or something. Then you need to charge with battery for 20-30 minutes or something. So that takes time also to build. I guess they will start with the big roads and the motorway between Islamabad and Lahore and within popular places in Karachi and like that, to build out that type of infrastructure.
The
Maybe have
problem
some.
is not, the problem is not the infrastructure. The problem is awareness. For example,
Yeah.
this gentleman is saying, talk according to Pakistan's ground reality. Pakistan's ground reality is not Pakistan's ground reality, is the planet's ground reality. We don't live in Pakistan, we live on a planet. And that
Mm,
planet is very interconnected, but we build our own boundaries using the language and the systems, and we don't try to change it because we think we live in a certain place now,
mm,
and we don't even try.
mm,
So the government, for example, in Norway was subsidizing $5,000,
mm,
$3,000
mm, mm,
for an electric car,
mm,
whereas we are taxing it. We're not even allowing it to be imported.
mm, mm,
And we're importing the gasoline car, we're importing the all the gas shit of the world, and we're allowing it to be used in our country. And then thus we then the petrol becomes the driving force, and then we are the guinea pig buying petrol from the people who have the petrol in the world, because and then they control us through that.
mm.
So
Yeah,
anyways,
the
bottom line,
question is, I mean, it's also a question how much time and effort should you pushing extremely difficult structures, politics like that. It will come with time. They will be forced because I mean the world, the leading countries of the world, they definitely go towards electric cars. So it will come by itself in a few years. So the question is how much. If you can make it 2 years quicker, then is it worth all the struggling and like that? Um, it's like you have limited time and energy. So, but make some videos, make some awareness about when will the last car of petrol be running in on the planet, and like make a bit of campaign around that. Are we going back to horses or on the street, or what do we do after the Western world has stopped produce petrol cars, the German cars, the Nordic cars, the US cars, the Japanese cars.
okay. Thank you so much, Bartola. Anything else you want to add?
No, I'm looking forward to the progress of the school and what we can do together. We have been speaking a lot around that, and I will meet the crowd now. Ashish and Azam is coming here as well. So it will be cool to meet up them coming days, spend time with them, and then we take it from there. So, and I will continue with the interviews next week. So you can calm the students down for those who I couldn't interview with this weekend. That I will do a few interviews every weekend. So in a few weeks, I have spoken to every one of them if they are a bit patient. They learn to be patient as well and have this perseverance. I said that was one of the skills if you want to build a society. It takes a lot of time. Not everything can happen immediately. But they are young, they are eager to do things immediately, and they are a bit incentivized to do it. So, but if they wait a bit, meanwhile, they can learn from each other. So that will be cool if they look into the videos. And I saw, in fact, one of the students that I will speak with tomorrow morning. He made a small summary or analysis of one of the interviews I made with another person. So that is a good exercise.
You can put it as requirement for them
Mm,
that if you want to interview me, you have to go watch two videos and then make 1 minute analysis video and then tag me. You can copy paste it for them
yeah.
and then they will be forced to do it. So somebody has to kind of force them into this. Like my friend Dennis,
Mm,
he has said that here is a video.
mm,
If you get, if you make an explainer video of this video and then get 100 likes
mm,
on that video, then I will give you an interview. So you have to
mm.
make filters around this process
Yeah, 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 yeah.
because slowly there will be a lot more people coming in. Yesterday I made a video on how to copy Rehan school, how, what we have done, what are the processes, what you can do. So I have started to see already some students copying us from other parts of the country and starting to interview little kids. So it's already happening.
Yeah, but I think often use the technique, and it goes for other places and other workshops and other how I work. If you say I will not give an interview if you don't do this, then it's more a threat or like you force them to do. But if you ask, then you see who delivers. So that's a better that's better to filter out people who really have this thinking already now. So I was thinking, in fact, doing that style. So encourage them to make an interview, listen to each other, and see what comes up. Not all of them will do it, but some of them will do it, and they are very valuable. So that's a way to filter out the engagement and they who are mature enough to see the value in doing that. So I'm sure I will do that in the weeks ahead. And like I said before, I will definitely add some kind of weaving, networking, some social capital, trust building element into what we do. So
Okay, connect me to other schools if you know, like that guy you talked about. My LinkedIn is closed, so I can't reach out. He's not on Facebook,
mm,
and I will make another LinkedIn, but they closed down all my LinkedIn account,
mm,
and I don't know why.
okay.
And the also Parul was saying that I will nominate you for a Shoka Fellow. I don't know what that means. But maybe you forgot, maybe you can ping him or you can nominate me for that so I can get other crazy people around me.
Mm. Okay, that's good. I can look. Okay, so
Okay.
great to hear from you. So let's keep in touch and continue the conversation.
Yeah, and you said you did a 10 days fast and you did not die. Please tell us what does that mean? That you did not eat food for 10 days and you're still looking more handsome now. You're looking like
Yeah,
zero
yeah,
zero.
yeah. I will share some videos. So that's But I mean, it's a real big influencers, a really big millions of followers of this keto, low carb influencers on YouTube. So it's called the keto diet or the low carb diet. So it means you eat more fat and protein and almost nothing in sugar or carbo. So that's the whole concept. And of course, fasta you have done, the Muslims and religion, fasta is nothing new. People knew for hundreds of years that it's good to spare the stomach and the system of the body to not eat and inflict constantly that the stomach is working. It needs to rest also. So of course it makes sense to do that. But the main philosophy of this, we can take it in another program, is that since up till the 1970s, we lived in a society, we speak about the Western world now, where we ate 3 times a day, and we had physical work, agriculture, out in the field, and like that. More using the body here in the Nordics, and like we speak up to 1970. So you normally ate early in the evening, and then you in the morning, and then lunch or dinner. That was it. No in between meals. So the snacking in between to keep the blood sugar, the insulin levels at the same level. Otherwise, you get a dip and get tired. So that's what I could. So I basically shifted to that. I took out the sugar products, not all of them, but many of them, like bread, spaghetti, rice, those things I completely ended since early July. And I started to eat more of olive oil on the salad, and avocado, eggs is brilliant. Yeah, there's a number. Some nuts is also great, pistachio nuts and like that. There are like 10, 15 things to eat that are, so you give a balanced diet, but from different sorts of what you can eat basically. So it works very well, and there's a lot to say about this, but I was surprised how easy it was to not eat, because I know it makes sense also because through history, of course, when we were hunters thousands of years back, sometimes you didn't get any food, so the body was developed to live on what you had, the fat basically, for several days. And you get sharpened your mind, because when the body don't get the energy you need to survive. So you get a lot of these mechanisms in after a few days of don't eating, you get more sharp in your head. You see things. It's like you get more energetic. That was quite astonishing. And the hunger feelings completely disappear after 3-4 days, at least on me. So first I was thinking like this, that I will be so hungry after 3 days. Imagine now after 1 day, how hungry will I be? It will be 3 times as hungry. But it's the opposite. It reduces. But you need to take some electrolytes, a bit natrium, a bit potassium, a bit kalium, and like that. So otherwise you maybe get a bit headache and a flu feeling, because you lose water that is connected in the muscle cells and like that, because carbo connects water. So 1 gram of carbo connects 3 gram of water. So when you lose that in the body, you will also lose a lot of water. So the first weight loss is related to water loss the first days. Then you get it more stable. But you should, at least I recommend and I believe in it, that in general you should eat less meals and have a bit of fasta, not all the time, but maybe once a week, a day or something. And then one day you eat normal, you get eat everything. So you get have variation. But I will continue. This was one of my. It was. I was almost on the way to write lifestyle on Facebook because it's. I think it's the most positive thing that has happened the last 10 years for me. This experiment. And then I exercise. So it's like double effect. So I've been walking, but when you lose weight, it's so much easier to move as well. So you need to come here for a training camp with me. We'll go into the forest and you will be fast and you will come back as a Superman. And you can take the politicians there around the petrol and bring energy. So I have the solution for you.
Cool. Well, I did 3 days of fasting maximum
Mm,
so far, and it was lovely. And
mm,
I was talking yesterday that I will start doing it again.
mm.
But it's a mind game. It's you're hungry even the
Yeah.
first day, and after the first day, second day, you're not so hungry.
Mm.
So I think it'll be good.
And
Uh,
the thing is that the body is like a hybrid car. It should be 90% of the people in the Western world, close to 90%, can't use fat because it's only carbo. We have eaten so much carbohydrates that we are not used to using fat. So it's a big shock, of course, if you start this. So that's why you get headache and like that. So after a few weeks of testing, you can start a little bit and then you increase and like how you get used to it. And they say a few months. I have done it for 3.5 months now. And now I feel that I am a bit of adapted, so I can do both of the things. And then you don't feel that big the difference. And that's a sign that you are more and more adapted to burning fat as a fuel, which the normal person in a normal lifetime is not used to. That's why you get so hungry. The hormone called gremlin increases, and that's where you get the hunger, the feeling from. And that will reduce, and it comes very strongly when you eat bread and that type of products, especially white bread. So so look at the, of course, meat and fish and all this. Fat fish is very good, but bread is crazy bad according to the experts, and it makes sense in some way.
so if you eat bread, then you get hungry. If you don't eat
Yes,
bread, you don't get hungry.
yeah. The gremlin is an effect because that's a hormone that will be in the blood when you break it down. So bread is among the worst thing you can do for that. And then it comes to pizza and all this stuff. So, but I still eat. I mean, like once a day, once a week. Then I eat like normally, like whatever. So, but I enjoy it, so it's no problem at all. It was a bit in the beginning, but when you see the results, so why not? You have more energy and you are more sharp thinking. You are not tired in the day. I was not so tired before as well, but now I can have like 12, 14 hours nonstop. I don't have any dips and, I get sleepy or something. Now it's the same all the time, more or less.
But this is not keto. Keto was something else. This is keto. You call it.
Keto is the product of fat when it's burned in the liver. So the molecule. So that's the effect you will get into the blood. And the keto is, and you have an oil called MCT oil, which is a special oil that goes straight to the liver. So that is also magic. It looks when you look into the research as it looks. I mean, I don't. You learn to that you have maybe some people who are not saying the truth. So I triangulate as always the information. I listen to different voices, and then you need to make a judgment if this is wise to test. But I wanted to test it because so many people have spoken about it and have been positive. So I just started a little bit to see what happened. And it was exactly what the average influencer online said would happen. So why not? So I continued. July was a test. Then I continued, and then I came to Arendalsveckan, this political week in Norway. And I was thinking I would test 5 days and see if I can do it. I had tested 2 days up till then in July. And then after 5 days, it was like so easy. So, okay, let's try a few more days. So it became 10 and a half day, and then I stopped. But at that time, I'm sure I could have continued for some more days. So it was like I felt uh, 7, 8, 9, 10 days into it. It was great. I had good energy, could be out walking. Mm, I took a bit extra salt and these minerals. Otherwise, you can be dizzy, and when you stand up, you don't have the blood, the pressure in the blood, so you get dizzy in the head when you stand up. So you need to add some elements into your some tablets or some products to make up for these things that you will lose in the body. But you find a million videos online if you look at low carb or keto diet or something. It's quite interesting. And I was always, at least before when I was exercising a lot, that was the first part of my life. The first 30 years, I was crazy into sports. That was my life. The first half of my life has been sport, and the second has been online and impact, you can say. So it's so I was very interested in physiology and the body and how it worked and like that when I read. So it was also very inspiring now to go back to books and what has happened in science around the body since I read till the late 1990s. So I have 25 years of catch up of what has happened in the field. And of course, it has not been, nothing has happened. A lot has happened over 25 years. So much more about food and how it affects the body and the brain and everything. So it's quite an interesting field.
Okay, boss. Thank you so much. Keep up the good work. Keep talking to them, and thank you again for your time.
Yeah, see you soon. Continue this. And it's good that Cillian will keep the fire going while I'm away for a few days.
He hasn't done any so far. I'm still waiting. He says, but then he runs away.
Yeah, but I think after my push now, he will be forced to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Great. See ya.
Okay, brother. Take care. Bye.
Bye.